Well, you may or may not be a fan of Zack Snyder, but you simply cannot deny the fact that he is unquestionably one of the most talked about and divisive movie directors at the moment, especially among fans of science fiction comic book movies. A section of fans, more specifically fans of his DCEU Man of Steel trilogy, believe that he is one of the greatest filmmakers of all time, while on the other hand, another section of fans love to hate and talk trash about Mr. Snyder at every single opportunity they get and are of the opinion that Zack is one of the most overrated directors produced by Hollywood. So which of these two opinions is actually true, and is Zack Snyder really the most overrated filmmaker in the world as suggested by the title and thumbnail of this video? Before I reveal the answer to this million-dollar question, I am going to request you to spend just 1 second of your time to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel, because that is the only thing which motivates me to work harder and to bring you more and more such awesome contents. Okay, with that, let us dive right into the main subject of this video. The first thing I want to say at the very beginning is that while you can debate and argue all day about Zack's ability to write and tell a good story on the big screen, there is no denying the fact that the man is probably the absolute best in the business when it comes to cinematography, visuals, and production designs. I completely agree that some of his movies are complete and utter garbage, but I also admit that those are probably the most beautiful looking garbage in the entire freaking world. His movies are undoubtedly some of the most beautifully shot movies you could ever think of, and every single frame qualifies as a desktop wallpaper of the highest quality. The man has a very unique ability to make any sequence feel 10 times more epic and larger than life. I mean, you can take Man of Steel as an example. While the portrayal of Superman and the overall storyline can be questioned, I can confidently say that the action sequences in that movie, more specifically the final battle between Superman and Zod, is unquestionably one of the greatest superhero action sequences ever put out on the silver screen. That being said, I have to agree with the fact that when it comes to the actual storytelling part of his movies, I believe Zack Snyder probably does not belong anywhere close to the list of some of the all-time great movie directors. If you ask for my opinion, I would say that I happen to enjoy and have fun watching most of his movies, but there is no way in hell that I would call movies like Army of the Dead and Rebel Moon masterpiece by any means. However, when it comes to his Man of Steel DCEU trilogy, I actually believe those are some of the most deep, philosophical, and unique comic book movies I have ever had the chance to witness. The world building, character development, and attention to detail in those movies is something which you do not see very often these days when it comes to big science fiction movies. Zack Snyder truly deserves every bit of credit for the religious subtext, iconic imagery, and deep hidden philosophical references which he tried to bring out through his DCEU movies. However, I would still not call his DC trilogy of movies masterpiece by any means, but as I said, I still believe to this day that those 3 movies are the most deepest and most philosophical comic book movies ever made in the history of cinema. I also happen to believe that the first 300 movie is also one of his better works, and I definitely had quite a lot of fun watching the same. The 300 movie, unlike Rebel Moon and Army of the Dead, actually works quite well with Zack's style of filmmaking, with all the slow motion, gorgeous set pieces, and cool action sequences. I would say the exact same thing for his Watchmen movie, which I believe is quite an underrated superhero movie. So, in conclusion, I would say that Mr. Snyder is quite a decent filmmaker who has had a few mediocre movies under his belt, and at the same time, he also has had quite a decent number of great projects to his credit. But, when it comes to creating beautiful-looking movies with epic larger-than-life visuals, I think he is probably the absolute GOAT at the moment. So, is he really overrated? While the answer to that question is purely subjective depending on how much you love the man's work, I believe Zack Snyder is definitely one of the most divisive and talked about filmmakers in history. The primary reason behind the same is because of his journey with Warner Brothers and DC. As I said, when you write such deep and philosophical stories based off the most popular comic book franchise of all time, you are bound to be a huge subject of conversation among millions and millions of passionate fans across the world. In all honesty, I think this is nothing surprising for me. So, that is all I had to share in this video. Please let me know your own thoughts on Zack Snyder and his movies in the comments down below. And please do not forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.